Assalamualaikum. Hi. Welcome to the lesson today. We're going to look at a very fundamental issue. When we talk about reading skill, there are a lot of strategies, there are a lot of things that you can do in order to step up your reading game. Right now, without further ado, let's start with our lesson today on reading skill. Really simple, really right, that I believe most of you will be benefit from this. Now, when we talk about reading skill, it's really simple, yeah. There are strategies, there are steps that you have to do. Now, imagine you have received a questions and you're going to answer the questions now. What is the first thing that you're going to do? Right? Some might say write down the name, some might say get comfortable and whatnot, right? So the first thing that you have to do when you are writing, when you're doing this, when you are reading something, you have to read the instruction or you have to establish what is the purpose of that particular reading. What are you reading for? Okay, for example, when you're reading for test later on, that's the purpose of the reading test itself. You're going to read for the purpose of answering questions. Okay, when you read newspapers, there's a lot of segments you have there. We have general news, we have economy, we have politics, we have sports, we have entertainment. So you yourself set what is the purpose of the reading, what is the instruction of that particular reading. Why are you doing this? So then you know what you are going to focus on. That's the main reason why you need to read, why you need to identify the questions, you identify the instruction and the purpose of the reading. Okay, so then you know what to look for. Rather than to read the whole thing, you specifically know the specific things that you're going to look for. Now, there are two strategies that I would like to introduce to you today. First, we have skimming, or we call it as quick reading. Second one is scanning, or we call it as detailed reading. Now, let's look at them one by one. What do we mean by that? All right. Now, first of all, when we talk about skimming process, remember, yeah, skimming means that we do not read the whole text. We only look at certain information, certain area of the text itself for us to get the idea for the whole thing. What do? First of all, we focus on the introduction part. Why do we need to read the introduction part? Because from the introduction, we can find out what is the thesis statement, what are the main ideas, what are the context of the whole thing that's going to be presented to you. Right? So from introduction itself, it's going to tell you all you need to know about the whole text. So that's the first thing. Second, read the first and the second sentence in each body paragraph. Why? Remember, when we look at how to write an essay, we have introduction, we have body, and then we have conclusion. So the same thing here. In the body part, we start with main idea, and then we have supporting details, and then we have example, then we have conclusion. Where do we find out the main ideas? In the first or the second sentence. That's how you know what is the main idea for the text itself. Okay, so that's the skimming process. Next thing that you have to look for is at any bold words, any words being italicized, any words that being put into quotation mark. There's a reason why people do this, and that reason is to emphasize on a specific detail. So then you know when you look at this, oh, the author going to talk about this, and this. Right? Okay, so that's skimming process. Next one is scanning process. In scanning process, it's really simple. Previously, we look at when you receive the questions, you specifically go to the text itself. In scanning process, we are looking for specific details. One question, where do we get the details? We get it by reading the question first. Once you receive the questions paper, you have the text, you have the question, straight away go to the questions and find out what is the main idea for each question. Question number 1, what does it want? Question number 2, what answer you are supposed to give here? Question number 3, what are the keywords that you have to know in order for you to find out the answers? Then what you do, you highlight the keywords there, you highlight the point in the question that will let you know, hey, this question wants this one. So please find these keywords in the text. Right. Most of the time, what's wrong with people is that whenever they know the keywords from the question and they get back to the passage, they locate that the location of that particular keywords there, that's it. They stop there. let's try another step. Once you found out where's the keywords in the passage there, you underline it in the text and put a note on the side. This one refers to question number 1, for example. This one refers to question number 2. Why do you need to do this? So later on, when you are doing your rechecking, remember when you have a time to recheck all your answers, what do? You find out, you recheck whether the points you have highlighted in the text does it relate, does it referring to the questions of the designated one. Alright, so that's what you were supposed to do here. Do not stop at just finding out there. Make a mark. Where is it? Where does it refers to? And why do you think that refers to that one? Okay, so that's the thing that you have to do for scanning process. Now, let's look at the whole strategy here. What are we going to do? Once you sit down, you have your questions in front of you, what are you going to do first? First of all, highlight the keywords in the questions. We go straight to the questions. So that we know, okay, this question is going to talk about this. Alright? Second one, read the questions multiple times before answering. Huh? Why we need to read the questions multiple times before answering? Of course, I know the question, what it is about. Okay, take 1 minute, try to answer this question, pause the video if you have to. There are 5 things wrong with the sentence. Originations will be able to find out, to spot all of the mistakes. Can you spot all of the mistakes? Right. So how was it? It's quite difficult for you to find out the mistake, right? That's why you need to read the questions multiple times, because sometimes we being overconfident with our answers, we somehow make mistakes. So please be careful with that one. Now, most of the answers are within the text itself. So if let's say you are confident with the answers, ask yourself, does this answer for the question appears in the text or not? Alright, sometimes there will be situation where you know, hey, this is the answer, I don't need to read the whole text. But then again, the answers must come from what have been given to you. You cannot deduce your own answer. Please be careful that one. Right, next. Some question requires deeper understanding and comprehension. They ask questions such as, what do the author means by when he say yada 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 yada. Alright, understand the underlying meaning of those questions, so then you can see what are the important things that you have to answer. Okay, next, always double check your answers, because without the answer being able to relate it back to the text means that the answer is not the correct answer within the context of that particular question. Okay, in real life, in reality, that might be the answer, but be careful, that might not be the answer for this particular set of questions. Be careful, yeah. And lastly, don't forget to take your time to read the text and passage, because most of the time when we rush something, we tend to miss things. So please be careful with that one. Now let's look at how to tackle the questions, how to answer certain famous questions that will appear when you're doing reading test later on. First one, what is the main idea of paragraph 2? This is a famous question that for sure going to come out in your final assessment later on. So what do? Remember, we've learned previously, when you do writing, in the body paragraph, you have main idea, and then you have supporting details, then you have example, then you have concluding sentence. Then you know where to find the main idea. How do you know that? We look at the first and the second sentence. Okay? The first and the second sentence will tell you what you are supposed to know about the paragraph itself, what is the main idea, what is the paragraph we're going to talk about. Alright, so that's the first one. Second question, another favorite question that will be asked later on. Why the author said that it is hotter nowadays as compared to the early 90s, line 20? Or the other way, what does the author means when he said yada 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 yada? Right, so to answer this question, what you need to do is that first, identify the main idea for the question. What does the question want you to answer? How do you know that? Look at the questions there. In this case, it stated why. Okay, why the author said that. So we know when the question asks you why, you're going to provide reason. So you find the reason for this particular statement. Let's say we change this question to how. How the author said that. So you know you're going to describe the way the author said something. Right? So by identifying the main idea for the questions, what is the requirement for the questions, then you know what you're looking for. So that's the first step. Second step is to look at the statement that has been provided to you. Look at the statement that has been provided to you. In this case, we are looking at line 20. Your job is not now is to find the context. You're going to find the context. What does it mean when we say it is hotter nowadays as compared to the early 90s? It here, the word it here refers to what? Hotter here, it refers to what? Early 90s here, it refers to what? Alright, how are you going to do this? Okay, let's say this is line 20. Alright, this is line 20. What are you going to do? You're going to read at least 3 sentences before line 20 and 3 sentences after line 20. Hey, why do I need to read those things? Really simple. When you do this, so then you know what is the context. What does each of these refers to? It is hotter nowadays compared to the early 90s. It here refers to what? Does it refers to the climate, to the temperature of the surrounding, or perhaps it refers to the people of the 90s? Is much less hotter than people we have nowadays. Right? So the way for you to find out what is the context is try to read. Remember, three sentences before the line itself and 3 sentences after it. Alright? You need to read between the lines. You need to read between the lines to get the answer. In order for you to understand that is to read, to capture where is the statement being mentioned. Got it? Alright. And with that, I guess that's all the lesson that you need to know for the final assessment. I hope you prepare with this, and please, my advice for you, whenever you're going to do this, whenever you're going to read for final assessment, please relax. Take your time. Okay, if you're stuck at one question, don't worry, move on. Alright, do not spend too much time at one question, and at the same time, do not be too fast until you miss certain information. I hope you learned something today. That's all from me. See you again later. Assalamualaikum.